that's kind of what I experienced. Is obviously added a ton of value, became a connector, and said, okay, you need this, or you need to talk to this person. And then that's kind of like that next step was I would then, when I would go talk to people, either one, they had heard about me, or number two, that's what I started with. So every time I walked into a business and I cold called, I'd walk in and said, hey, I'm an ambassador with the chamber, I know people, and I would first connect them. They didn't even know what I did. I just came in, said, hey, what do you need? And then their walls dropped, and then they're like, how can you help me?
Yes.
And that's when stuff kind of started coming in.
Welcome to the Who You Know Job Networking Show, where what you know is important, but who you know can make all the difference in your business, career, relationships, and your life. We're here today at Video Marketing World 2022, and I'm super excited. This episode is brought to you by Real News PR. They're going to make you look like $1 million on camera, okay? So I'm even more pumped because I've got our very special guest today, Bailey McBride. Whoop, whoop. Bailey's in the house, and Bailey, I like your last name, McBride, because you just got married, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Man,
last Saturday.
Dude, congratulations.
Right here,
Let's
baby.
go. Let's go.
Yeah. Best day of my life.
Best day of your life, last Saturday.
Yeah, last Saturday.
Besides this, right?
Yeah, besides this
Besides
weekend.
this, yeah, okay. This comes in
This
second.
comes right there. Close. Close enough.
Well, shout out to you, man. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations. But I really wanted to dive into your story because I was going over some of these notes in here, and it shows that, in 2021, you kind of made a pivot and some transitions and things were going on. And talk to us about what was happening there. It says here that you were in a sales role?
Yeah, so I worked for a digital marketing company in a sales role.
Okay.
I got to be a part of some of the campaigns, but mainly sales was my job. And so coming into 2021, I moved down here kind of for my wife and job-wise 2 years ago, May of the pandemic. And about 6 months into it, wasn't really making that many sales, and went on a trip and looked at myself and was like, am I going to be here? Like, is this really the role for me? And kind of just doubled down on myself in 2021. First full year at the company, I made President's Club, got top 5. I was 23. And yeah, it was amazing. And actually now in a new role about a month ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, last year was amazing, and it was really fun.
Well, I want to dive a little bit deeper into that because a lot of the folks that we deal with, career transition folks, they find themselves in a similar spot where they're having some doubts, right? Some fears, some anxiety. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this isn't for me, or maybe they got let go or fired from a certain position. So what were you going through? Really illustrate for the audience what that was like for you when you were having kind of these doubts.
So I guess what was going through my mind is I had left Iowa. So I'm originally from Iowa, so moved all the way down here. It was May 2020, the pandemic, or by then it was December, but still pandemic. I moved, basically packed up my life and moved all the way down here. Knew nobody besides my fiance, now wife. And so my self-doubts were like, I picked up, I'm going to go do my own thing. And now it's like, I'm not really doing it. I'm not really successful yet, or not even doing much. And so I'm like, man, I'm going to pack up all the way. And then I had a really good gig that I had actually accepted out of college. Was an intern there and was kind of self-doubting. Man, was this really the right move?
Wow. So I hear you, man. I think we've all been there at some point in our life. You've had a moment. You start to doubt. What got you through to the next step? What got you up?
Networking. So I kind of went all the way in on networking, basically.
I'm giving you a cue.
Okay.
Headphones.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I was like, he's not getting the full experience.
No.
Go ahead, throw those on. There you go.
That's great. Yeah.
Is that better?
That's so much better.
I know. We got people all out in the conference and everything.
Yeah,
I'm
this is amazing.
I was trying to give you a cue, man. I'm like,
yeah. I always wondered why people throw headphones on during this. Now I get it.
Now you get it?
Yeah. So networking.
Okay.
So I doubled down. I became an ambassador with the McKinney Chamber locally here, and I just added value. I didn't try to sell these people when I sat down with coffee. I just said, how can I help you? What do you do? And I just became a connector. And even in my new role.
Let's go.
And then stuff came, after 7-8 months of just adding value, even when I would go to networking things, I would give value. I wouldn't say, hey, call me. Nobody likes those people that this is what I do and then call me. I added value and then stuff came.
Where did you learn that? Where did that come from?
Kind of on my own, kind of from my mom. My mom had told me, you got to join the chamber. You got to start networking.
Did she teach you what networking was about?
Not really. She just kind of told me to join the chamber. I kind of just learned on my own by watching.
Okay.
I would see people do their 30-second or do these one-on-ones, and they would sell. And I learned from my own mistakes, as I did that in the beginning. I would sell and wasn't the right person or whatnot. And then I was like, what am I doing? I'm doing this all wrong. And so I basically, started giving tips when I would go to events and just adding value. And then eventually I became the go-to for marketing because I would actually
let's go, mic drop.
Give advice to people. That
I have a similar story, man. So it's exactly how all this came about. I was networking at a job networking group, and I found that they had a similar problem. All these job seekers were going through a similar issue.
Okay.
And I sat down with them. Now, in all transparency, I was there for business purposes, right? But I was like, all right, hold on, I can't just go in there like that, right? And so I sat down and I was like, hey, what are your challenges? What are you going through? What are your struggles? Like, what are you actually going through? And I figured out ways to provide solutions to their problems that had nothing to do with the business there. You know what I'm saying? The business side. And so I was just giving.
Yep.
And, listen, it's in the Bible. You reap what you sow. And if you sow good seed, you'll reap a good harvest. And so I just was curious as where that came from for you, and where you picked that up from.
And it's not about those people. It's about who do they know. Those are the people who you want to work with. The people who are going to those events aren't always your ideal clients. It's who do they know, and that's when it hits.
Absolutely. And I think what you were saying, providing value. Like somebody else at the conference earlier was talking about just continue to stack up the value. And when you do that, I'm telling you, like, you're going to become so valuable that some people just won't help but to do business with you. So is that what you were experiencing? Like, what did you go through and what was the next step?
So yeah, that's kind of what I experienced. Is obviously added a ton of value, became a connector, and then
connector piece.
And said, okay, you need this or you need to talk to this person. And then that's kind of like that next step was I would then, when I would go talk to people, either one, they had heard about me, or number two, that's what I started with. So every time I walked into a business and I cold called, I'd walk in and said, hey, I'm an ambassador with the chamber. I know people, and I would first connect them. Whether I didn't even talk about, they didn't even know what I did. I just came in and said, hey, what do you need? And then their walls dropped, and then they're like, how can you help me?
Yes.
And that's when stuff kind of started coming in.
And it's so true. Like when you go in, like I had a guy, Rich Cardona, he spoke here, I think on day one, and I met him in the lobby, and I've met him before. He's been on the show and stuff, and we start connecting in the lobby first thing in the morning. He's like, yo, Trevor, what's up, man? And he's like, just connecting me and giving, like, he's like, if there's anybody I can connect you through my network and blah, blah, blah. And he's giving. I'm like, dude, man, I love that, right? And I was like, immediately, I'm like, dude, anything you need, like, I got you back. Like, what do you need? How can I help you? Like, that's just the way it works. And people then also want to know what you do, right? Like, who cares? Like, it's so funny. When you meet somebody, that question always comes out. Hey, what do you do?
What do you do?
Right?
Almost first thing.
Yeah, but it's such a canned question, right? It's like no one really cares what you do, right?
Because you start talking about someone else anyways.
Until they know how much you care, right? Like there's that, I think it's Zig Ziglar said, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. I don't know who said that.
I think that's how it goes,
Was it Zig Ziglar?
It might be.
I don't remember who said it. On the podcast.
Trevor Houston said that.
Y'all tell me. Yeah, I said it. But it's so true. Like when somebody, hey, what do you do? Like no one really cares what you do until they feel that you actually care about them. Then they want to know you and have an interest, right? So it's so true. I love that. All right, so talk to us about, you just recently made a new transition. You got a new gig, and it sounds like you're doing pretty good, and I want to know about it.
Yeah, so about a month ago, the owners of my company that I work for now, the Performance Group, Performance Painting and Performance Roofing, I had met with them, and they had always hired marketing companies.
Yeah.
So I was kind of going in there, as another marketing company. And they're like, no, like we want to hire you to be our marketing director. And my whole life, I've wanted to be a marketing director. It's really what I went to school for sales, for marketing.
Yeah.
I just did marketing because it was the closest thing to sales. And then through school, I was like, no, I'm going to do this for a company. And they keep talking about entrepreneurs. One day, maybe I want to start my own thing. I actually want to just work for a company. I don't know why. It's like a passion of mine, but I want to be the marketing director and film content, run ads. Always something I've wanted to do. And I saw all these other businesses at my last company doing it all wrong. And I'm like, all you got to do is change up a couple things and make your website better or whatnot. And that's really what I've been doing, is just looking at our budget, looking at our website, and just, Rome wasn't built in a day. And that's what I'm telling myself is.
Man, you know what you should tell this new company, man? I'm seeing it. I'm feeling it because I heard you say, so you're seeing how much they got going out and they're spending for this marketing, right? And you get to see the ROI at the back end, right? You say like, hey, if I can cut your budget in half, right, I just want you to give me that other half. If I can produce you a better ROI, give me the rest of that money. That's my bonus.
Yep. Or let's throw it back in.
Or throw it back down, double down.
Let's go do Dark Horse,
Yeah.
Hey. That's what I was asking them earlier. And,
okay.
And we actually we're sponsoring an event this weekend here in Van Alstyne. But
very cool.
Yeah, just little things like that, reinvest and I'll ask for more money when I prove myself.
Well, hey, man, keep going. You're doing the things, self-development like these conferences and stuff. This is where you're going to learn. You're going to get the knowledge. What do you think is your expertise at this point in marketing? Is there a certain platform that you're crushing it with? Is it TikTok? Is it YouTube? Or is there something that you do really, really well?
I think I would just say, from a service-based business standpoint, I would just say my expertise is, I would say kind of a little bit of everything. That doesn't sound like it's niching down, but I feel like I'm just good at looking at our website. At my last company, I would say, I will never do marketing for you until your website's good enough. And so first, I would say my expertise is the process.
Okay.
Kind of like the consumer funnel of
right.
like, okay, even though we get a ton of organic traffic, number one, our website isn't that great. So we got to start there. We got to get our website better. Or over time, just convert more people there. Okay, so then obviously whatever we're spending our money on needs to get a little bit better. Our website message, we need to have some retargeting going on. If we got about 1,000 people coming to our website, we're not doing anything to retarget them. So I would say kind of like the consumer process of just understanding the human being's mind is, I would say that's my kind of expertise.
I love that. So it's the process. I'm very similar like that. Just trying to like the journey, the customer journey, and where they land on your site and what's next, and going through whatever funnel it is, and the marketing and the copy and everything. So I like what you're talking about. That's good. So it's not necessarily a certain channel per se, but the process is really part of your expertise.
Yep, because at my last role, it was my job to figure out which channel was the right one, or which ad, or which platform to go run an ad on. Or I love doing PPC with Facebook ads retargeting, just because you're getting people who are ready to roll. Only 3% convert, the average PPC conversion rate or website. So 97 out of 100 people aren't going to convert. What are you doing to get back in front of them? And that was my favorite thing ever, just to do very simple things like that.
Yeah, just get right back in front of them. I love that. Okay, so what do you think? I'm trying to think of a really good question for the audience to really munch on. Okay, so this whole conference is about creating opportunities, creating cash flow, using marketing strategies, building a business, entrepreneurship, right? Things like that. What would you say to somebody who maybe has been getting their teeth kicked in over and over and over, dealing with rejection? They're applying online, they're not getting anywhere, they're getting ghosted, and they're feeling a little bit down on themselves.
I would say, number one, keep trying. I think that's kind of the thing at the conference right now, is just start. So I guess I can relate to this, not necessarily in the job market, but in sports. So I had went to a bunch of showcases back when I was in high school, and I went 5 for 5 one day, threw out a bunch of kids, and they're like, nope, you're not fit for our team, whatnot. So I think it's all about, I'm very faith-based, so I think it's all about the right place and the right company. And there is going to be the right place and the right company when you're not trying. I feel like that happens a lot to when you're like, I'm just going to, I'll apply to this place, but it's not really what I want. And then maybe you get in the interview and like, wow, this is the company culture. I feel like it's that. Though, and that's in life. It's always when you're not ready for it is when it's gonna hit you and you're gonna get the right job.
I got you. So like keep going, but like it's almost like the quicksand. Okay, the more you struggle, right, the quicker you sink.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're saying is kind of like even with dating, when you're not looking, that's when it.
That's how I found my wife.
Yeah.
I for 3 years, wanted a wife and wanted a girlfriend and everything,
and that was you in the quicksand. You're struggling. You're trying
Yep.
too hard. You're trying too hard.
Yep. And then
right?
you focus on yourself, or you
Yep.
focus on how can I, watching YouTube videos. How can I get better? Then you start working on yourself, and then kind of then go back and double down on.
Love that, man. I'm going to give you a mic drop for that. Let's rock. Let's roll. Let's go. All right. And tell the audience, where can they connect with you? What's the best way to get connected with all the things you got going on?
So I would say the best way to connect with me personally is my LinkedIn. That's probably where I post the most business and life-wise. I post both there, Bailey McBride. And then the Performance Group, to connect with our company. We're a full-service contractor here in DFW. So Performance Group, Performance Painting, or Performance Roofing. I'm starting to get out a bunch of content now. And
He's
I'm excited.
flying drones around houses and all that kind of stuff, man. It's pretty cool. So I appreciate what you do. Connect with him. Let him know what was the favorite mic drop moment of this show. Guys, that's the show. It's all about who you know. Thanks for listening to the Who You Know Show podcast. My name is Trevor Houston, and if you've enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing wherever you listen and leave us a positive review to help us keep the mics on in the studio. Until next week, that's the show. It's all about who you know.